Hi, I'm Christian from Beyond Casterbarus, and this is the top Doctor Who Christmas specials of all time. Before we get started, here's some background. The first Doctor Who Christmas special was in 2005. That was the Christmas Invasion. The last, most recent, was in 2015, and that was The Husbands of River Song. This year we have the return of Dr. Mysterio, but as we're doing this before that's come out, then there's no point including it. No one knows. We can't be objective about it, so we're going to skip that, and maybe we'll include it in our next poll. So, that's 11 Doctor Who Christmas specials. Or is it? Actually, we've got some honourable mentions. First of all, we have Big Finish's The Chimes of Midnight. We have The Feast of Stephen from 1965. And we also have, and this was a popular choice, 2005's The Unquiet Dead, which wasn't a Christmas special, although it was set on Christmas Eve in 19th century Cardiff with Charles Dickens and starred Christopher Eccleston as the Doctor. So if you were wanting a Christopher Eccleston Christmas special, that is the one. It went out in April, but don't let that worry you. So that's the honourable mentions out of the way. Now these 11 Doctor Who Christmas specials have been voted for by Beyond Casterbarus listeners and followers on Facebook and Twitter. James McLean, Brian Terranova and myself have also offered our own vote into this. So prepare yourself now for the top Doctor Who Christmas specials of all time, in order as voted for by you. At number 11, it is The Husbands of River Song, in which the Doctor encountered for the first time a River Song that didn't recognise him, probably due to him being in his 12th persona. Let's forget the War Doctor in this counting. Also starred Matt Lucas as Nadol, and it's a bit meh, really, isn't it? At number 10, it is The Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe from 2011, in which Matt Smith, following a promising opening in which he more or less almost dies pulling on a spacesuit and falling to Earth, does a bit of magic, and it all gets a bit kind of tree foresty, Lord of the Ringsy, with talking sentient wood and that sort of thing later on. Not a favourite, apparently. Number 9 is The Next Doctor, in which the 10th Doctor encounters what he thinks is his next self. But as it turns out, David Morrissey's character, Jackson Lake, has simply been exposed to the Doctor's memories thanks to some Cybermen memory sticks and a bit of jiggery pokery in the tech department. It's a nice story and it flows along well, but it isn't one of your favourites. Number 8 is 2013's The Time of the Doctor, Matt Smith's final appearance on screen as the Doctor for a few months. Anyway, it's introduced us to handles, and it gave the Doctor a new life cycle of regenerations. Whether or not that was the way to do it or not is another matter entirely. At 7, we have The Runaway Bride, in which the 10th Doctor, almost straight away from losing Rose, finds himself with a bride in the TARDIS, played by Catherine Tate. This is the introduction of Donna Noble, who later became one of the most popular Doctor Who companions of recent years, but in this early, stressed out on her wedding day, but it's not taking place because a giant spider has kidnapped her fiancé, who's actually in league with the giant spider beneath the Thames. She was a little bit overbearing and over the top, and it's safe to say that the script and the episode aren't as memorable as some others, but on the other hand, it's pretty much landing in the middle of this poll. Okay, we're skipping 6 because we have 2 number 5s. With the same number of votes each, we have A Christmas Carol, the rather delightful and charming 2010 Christmas special starring Matt Smith and Michael Gambon, with an appearance from Catherine Jenkins as well. Amy and Rory were stuck in a spacecraft, and it was down to the Doctor to let the chap who was stopping the spacecraft from landing safely to basically give him the Ebenezer Scrooge treatment and show him how things could have been and should have been if he had changed his ways. And at number 5, it's another crashing spacecraft. It's Voyage of the Damned, in which the 10th Doctor encounters a collection of people who didn't make it onto the Poseidon adventure, and instead they're in space. And it's the first appearance of Bernard Cribbins as Wilfred Mott, but probably most notably, it co-stars Kylie Minogue. At number 4, we have 2012's The Snowmen, in which we are reintroduced to Clara Oswald. So that's her second introduction after her first introduction in Asylum of the Daleks a few months earlier. She's introduced again in The Snowmen, and she also dies in The Snowmen, and then she comes back a few months later. So she's Clara number 2. She's the Victorian Clara, who's a lot more interesting and charming, and apparently was originally going to be our Clara. As things turned out, that didn't happen. Now, this episode is notable for having an excellent guest cast. So you've also got Richard E. Grant in there, and the rather wonderful Sir Ian McKellen, and some it's a great story, and it's a great intelligence, harking back to the 1960s stories, strangely enough, uncovered around the same time that this went into production. At number 3, we have 2009's The End of Time. This is the Christmas Day episode, in which the 10th Doctor returns to Earth, runs into Wilf, and tries to find out what's going on with the Master and why everyone is dreaming and having bad nightmares of the Master laughing at them. It is notable for having one of the most audacious Doctor Who cliffhangers of all time. It is possibly, if it's not the most memorable, it is certainly one of the most impressive. It's one that you will not forget. And just in case you have, it's the one where everyone is the Master. Brilliant. At number 2, we have 2014's Last Christmas, in which the Doctor, estranged from Clara, finds himself sharing a dream with Clara and rescuing her from some strange kind of alien xenomorph situation with the help of Father Christmas himself, Santa Claus. Guest cast, and all in all, it's a lot of fun and quite memorable because it's hit number 2 in our poll of the best Doctor Who Christmas specials of all time. But what is at number 1? Well, if you've been paying attention, you probably have worked it out already. It is 2005's The Christmas Invasion. Yes, Doctor Who had 2 Christmas specials in 2005. Number 1 was The Unquiet Dead, and number 2 actually made the effort of going out on Christmas Day, and it was The Christmas Invasion, in which we get David Tennant finally introduced to audiences after 6 months of waiting. Rose Tyler trying to do the job of the Doctor herself, while the guy himself is laid out following some post-traumatic regenerative stress disorder. Is that a thing? I don't know. And it introduces the Sycorax. It reintroduces Harriet Jones. We know who you are. And it's fantastic. It's lots of fun. Lots going on. Great new monsters who have incredibly never been revisited in 11 years since. The Sycorax, great monsters, return of units to Doctor Who, and all in all, it is a lot of Doctor Who Christmas fun. It is the template for Christmas Doctor Who's, and that's probably why it sits at number 1 in our poll. If you think differently, if you have a preferred Doctor Who Christmas special, you let us know in the comments below this video, wherever you find it. Until next time, it's goodbye.